So Kevin Brennan yesterday on his program, Misery Loves Company, which I was on when the arrest news broke. It broke while I was on MLC, mugshots and everything. Jesus, that was a classic episode. I may have been part, not trying to brag, I may have been part of the greatest episode of Misery Loves Company of all time. And even if you don't agree with that, right now, name me one better. Look, man, I may not be the best episode of Misery Loves Company ever, but I'm head and shoulders above whoever's in second place. Well, Kevin Brennan was, I guess, shitting on Hackamania, which I guess the bedbug fest that somebody said barely a couple hundred people attended, which, yikes. I mean, you had what, like 3 or 4 different shows with 3 or 4 different audiences attending that? Like, you loaded it the fuck up and you drew a couple hundred people? Oof, that's a tough one. Well, Kevin was talking about that, and up came this idea that Kevin has, or that apparently he's thought through, that April is going to be his new sidekick on Misery Loves Company. I guess this would kick Chad Zumach to the curb. Chad wouldn't be the co-host anymore. He'd lose his gig to April, which I'll be honest, that would be funny to me. For all the shit he's talked and now kind of the W he's dragging around right now, for April to come in and take his job. Now, I'm going to say before we listen to any of this, before we hear how Kevin's going to sweeten the pot and whatnot, I don't think April's interested. I don't think April wants to be part of the internet world anymore. I don't think she wants to be on anyone's show. I mean, first, she had this show, and she was good on it. You know, she did a good job, but she got into disco, as we all did, and this show didn't seem as interesting to her anymore. She found a higher rung on the ladder, and she climbed that one. And then this show didn't seem that important to her anymore, so she just quit. She quit her job. And then she got discovered as the person who was in the studio with Nick when he was doing his shows, because her voice was on the fucking disaster nightmare stream. And that kind of exposed her. The whole, it's still on, clear as day. So I don't think she, and then of course the arrest a few days later. I don't think, if April's smart, she's in Litchfield right now, licking her wounds, recovering from all this, getting back into another line of work, living a private life as a private citizen, and rebuilding. At 29 years old, it's not impossible. You go back, you find a good gig, you go back to maybe the factory stuff, make some decent money, rebuild your life. Totally possible. In fact, not only possible, if you stay clean and you stay away from the disco life, 100% likely that you rebuild your life. Honestly, before your 30th birthday, you've got your life rebuilt, in my opinion. But going back to the internet stuff, there's that saying, just some people can't handle the internet. She's one of those people. It's just, number one, she's a woman, and it's fucking brutal out there for a woman on the internet. And, trying to handle all that is very, very difficult. So let's see what Kevin Brennan's got. You guys knock out our 3:30. We're slow going to start this morning. If you feel like chipping in, please do. We appreciate it. Let's watch Kevin Brennan's offer to April, my ex-wife, to join Misery Loves Company. She should kind of take this as a compliment, if you think about it. I mean, people are still thinking about her. People still, she's still a name. She's still got enough drawing power that Kevin Brennan wants to pay her a salary to work with him.
My name's on the wall at the Comedy Store. His isn't. So,
zinger!
I don't really care what he thinks about my stand-up, to be honest.
I have no idea.
He seems like a nice guy. I enjoy his. He's a good, sidekick to Kevin for the moment.
He is.
Is that Chad? He's talking about Chad.
Liam's my new sidekick. Speaking of Liam. Sidekicks, I'm making a formal April offer right now. April, $40K a year to be my sidekick, and you can have weekends off like Kumia. No Saturdays, no Sundays. Saturdays, I got the sorcerer and whoever jumps on with him. Was that a classic Chad? He jumps off the
So he offers April $40,000 a year. I think we've talked about this on the show before, so I'm safe. She'd have to take a pay cut to work for Kevin. Look, we had to cover what she was making at the old place. She hated the old place. She wanted to work here. So I had to make that work fiscally for her. So she'd have to take a little bit of a pay cut. And I can't imagine that Misery Loves Company's audience is less brutal than a Steel Toe audience. I can't imagine that whatever Kevin's audience does is nicer than what we're doing. I'm not saying they're bigger pricks or assholes than our audience. I mean, if you go through our chat, I'm sure there's people right now, I'm the worst motherfucker who ever lived. I'm terrible. I'm awful. This guy sucks. I hate him, blah, 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 blah. I'm sure it's just a wonderland of positivity. But Kevin's people, they do it for sport. For them, it's like part of the show. So I don't know if that would be the best place for her. But Kevin's making an offer. And how's Kevin's wife going to feel about this also? All she's got to do is read a couple articles where, you kind of see what the old running group was into, allegedly. And I think there might be some questions raised right off the top.
Say bye, didn't do his plugs, just jumped off the fucking show. I'll give April a 20% year-end bonus on the $40,000 if she comes bikini clad twice a week. Not twice a week, in the summer maybe, but not in the winter. All right, somebody reach out to her. I'm not kidding, man. I think that would really. First of all, listen. I'm gonna be as fair as I can here, but
okay,
she ain't gonna be able to get a job. I mean, she can work at the 7-Eleven or something, but I'm sure that she's either gonna have to move or this Nick Ricotta guy. Again, he's not my business. But April got dragged into it. She got arrested. I don't know what happens. Like, I never really got arrested like that. So I don't know if you they don't appear on your, if somebody does a background check on you, they don't appear unless you're convicted of some kind of crime. Well,
they can look it up though. And I think Kevin's being a little unfair on that one. I mean, I don't think it's going to stop her from getting certain jobs, like doing what she did before this. And she'd been doing that for years. But doing what she did before this, which has retirement and benefits and all that stuff, it's a blue-collar living. She could do that. I don't think they're going to turn her away for that one mistake. I think she could do that again, and she could do that the rest of her life. She'd be the hottest chick at the factory. And I'm not saying that to shit on anybody. Like, after the life she's been living, which is the life I'd been living, it's not a good life. You shouldn't be living that way, especially if you have children. And she doesn't. I get that. But, it's not a life you should be living. So when I say, she could be the hottest girl at the factory, that's a good thing. There's a lot of people who would kill to be the hottest girl at the factory. It's not glamorous. It ain't disco. But what did disco get you? Disco almost got you a charge that could have landed you 25 years in the clink. So who gives a shit about disco? Be the hottest girl in the factory. That's all I want to be. I just want to be the hottest girl at the factory. I want to be the guy with the dad bod who might get a few stray looks when he goes to Menards once in a while. That's it. Get back into the gym 3 to 4 days a week, do some boxing, get some bruises, maybe get a few looks at Menards. That's it. That's all I want. I want the single moms trying to figure out what kind of washing machine to buy to maybe go, hey, fuck it, whatever. That's all I need. Set your standards low. So I don't agree with Kevin that she couldn't get a job.
I mean, everybody in that town where she lives has to know her. So she'll either have to move or come work for me.
I love those. I love that those are her two options. She has to move or work for Kevin Brennan. Dude, I still get people who comment to me and they're like, you should take her back and you should have her do steel toe and she should come back and do that again. No. I'll tell you, once you go disco, you can't go back together. It doesn't work. Sorry. You can't. She'd have to disavow disco, and I don't know if she's ready to disavow disco yet. I'm just trying to get Keanu to call in and yell at me for calling it disco. But it's an interesting offer. $40,000 to do Misery Loves Company. Kind of breaks up your afternoon. It starts at 3 o'clock Central Time. I don't know. It's an interesting offer from Kevin. Let's see where it goes.
This better be her. This better be her.
It's not.
April Diane Imholt. My favorite part of the show is when the old man with diaper ointment. It is diaper ointment. It literally is. Now, you know what I did? Fucking, I'm so stupid. We're off to a good start, April. We're already riffing. No, they had this Decedent. I got the CVS kind. So anyway, one CVS just had the paste of it, Decedent in paste. But then the other,
Bro, is Kevin still treating his herp lip and he's rubbing diaper rash shit on it? Kevin, it's called Abreva. Everybody with herp lips know about Abreva and Valtrex, dude. Go to your doctor. He'll give you 5 big fucking horse pills. You'll take one of them a day. Nobody will ever, like, when you start to feel the tingliness in your lip of getting a herp lip, you go, you take the Valtrex. Like, April had some left over. I'm admitting to a crime here. April had a dosage of the prescription Valtrex stuff, and I took that when I was getting one 2 weeks ago or whatever. And, like, it never blew up. It never became a big thing. It just kind of withers and dies on the vine. It takes a week. But you take the 5 pills, Kevin. You rub a little Abreva on there, and you're good. You don't have to smear fucking diaper rash ointment all over your face. Kevin, that herp lip should be gone by now, buddy.
it would like leave a mark on my lip. So I'm like, and then I went to another CVS. I wasn't even like, I would just walk by the section. I wasn't like looking for more. Anyway, I was in that, I walked by that section and there's an ointment version. So I'm like, oh, the ointment won't be so white. But it is white, and it's even more white. Even if I take
Kevin, there's medication they make specifically for herp lips. Go get that shit. In fact, it's probably right next to the baby butthole cream that you put on your face. God damn it, man. I just realized I should be teaching a course on herpes.
Shower, there's still a fucking mark on my lip. So yeah, but it's almost gone. The reason I put it on now is because it's almost gone. And last time when it was almost gone, I'm like, it'll heal on it by itself from here on out. And it didn't.
You know what? I'm telling you this. An egotistical, angry bastard who talks about himself. April would fit right in on this show. She's got experience. It could work. It could work with her on MLC.
My favorite part of the show is when the old man with diaper ointment on his lip, literally ointment. It was paste before, now it's ointment. With diaper ointment on his lip, threatened to stop doing the podcast that makes him $20K plus a month. Wow, someone's doing well. April, you want to make $40K a year? Let me know.
By the way, the minute a judge's signature goes on to that paper that's now been submitted to the county, it's April Anderson. Thank you very much. Not Imholt. Her and I were apparently in complete agreement on that one. I'd be lying if I said I was thrilled that when that arrest went down, the person I was divorcing, the fucking last name was on there. That bothered the shit out of me. That's my kid's last name. That's my last name. That's the last name of a lot of people in central Minnesota. Imholt is not a common name nationwide, but where I live, you know, with all the incest and whatnot, Imholt's a pretty common name. And I'm sure there's a lot of people not very appreciative that name was in there. So I'm not trying to tell a judge what to do, but if we could make haste on that name change thing, that would be nice. That's going to help her too. I mean, the name change is going to help a ton because you'll Google that name and the arrest won't come up, which is a good thing. Again, go back to the factory, do that shit, be the hot girl at the factory. You'll find a nice man. He won't take you down the disco route like your last one did, like a fucking idiot. And you'll do well. I really do. I think she's going to land on her feet. A lot of, like Kevin Brennan and these other people, they have these dire predictions for her. I think if she stays hanging around the Ricadas, she's fucked in more ways than one. I think it's over. It's finished. That's your whole life then. You're hanging out with a married couple in their 40s while you're in your 20s for the rest of your life. One of them looks like Skeletor. The other one, she could, you'd probably gain a couple of pounds, but like one of them just looks like warmed over death. And you're going to hang out with that. You're going to what? Share a dude with a married lady of 5 for the rest of you? That's a fucking terrible idea. It's a dog. I mean, should you have come home with me? Probably. Yeah, that would have been your best bet. Your best bet, come back. We do steel toe. They get busted they're getting busted. There's nothing she could have done to save them. That was already in motion. He was going to do that fucked up, coked out, drunk stream, allegedly, whatever the fuck it was. Well, I guess the cop said it looked like it was coke and booze. He was going to do that stream whether you were there or not. Your best bet would have been come back, we do steel toe, we cover this arrest from afar. Her and our banter on it would have been fucking classic. And then, you put the pieces back together. But if you get away from that disaster, if you get away from that, what is still, in my opinion, a ticking time bomb, what happened to you was a warning shot. Because you change your last name, you get the fuck out of there, you go back home, you pick up the pieces, you're going to be fine. But you stay in that fucking blast radius, nothing survives that, not even cockroaches. But continue, Kevin, with your pitch.
How much up front to April for no rehab. We want her just the way she is. Like that Billy Joel's classic. I love you just the way she is. No, I want her coked up.
No. Let me say that. Do you? I don't have any experience in this. I know that based on what they've told me, the other two have been hitting it for years. You're going to need professional help to get over that. You're going to need meetings. You're going to need rehab. You're going to need all of that shit. And you're going to need to work it. You can't just go. You can't just show up. You got to work it. You got to make an effort. And that's really, really hard. And the majority of people don't make it. But I wonder if April, since it's only like 6 months, if she just removes herself from that area and she gets the fuck out of there and it's not accessible to her, it's not cocaine is not something you can just go and get. It's expensive. You got to know somebody who knows something about it. If she got away from it and she just went back home, she could probably steer clear, right? Again, I don't know. Maybe, super chat it in, PayPal, Venmo, whatever, but I feel like you could probably just kick that whole thing. By the way, I will tell you this. It feels so good to talk about this as an observer rather than someone who's actively involved with any of the people. The divorce thing is going to do wonders for this program because now I can just talk about these things, from afar instead of worrying about the impact it's going to have on me. Which you might say, Aaron, that sounds really selfish. Yes, it does. I
want her coked up.
No.
That's what I want. April, Diane Imholt. I guess we're all caught up. Do your plugs, KB. This might be her.
No.
It's starting to sound a little bit like Canoe, though. That's what it's starting to sound like. But anyway, Canoe, tell if this is you, Canoe, tell, because I usually don't read Canoe, so maybe she's undercover. She's an undercover super chatter. Tell Diane. Now we're doing cheers. I'll be Sam, you be Diane. Tell April, Diane Imholt, 800 a month.
Wait, 800 a month?
800 a month, 40K a year. That's over 40.
That's 800 a week, silly goose. 800 a week is what? 32 a month? That's only 38. Well, splitting hairs now. 900 a week.
because there's 52 weeks in a year. So she could take 2 weeks off and go camping and go whitewater rafting in Europe.
Oh, no, 800 a week, 50 weeks. There you go. Yeah. Okay. That checks out. Kevin's smarter than I am.
Not me, stupid. All right, then maybe it's Diane. April, Diane. She really is like Diane from Cheers.
How?
Didn't she have no luck with love? She was luckless in the love department. That's kind of like April is. But somebody else said, again, I will get her on to find out, get to the bottom of it. But people, I think Errol, what's his name? Aaron was saying that she was cheating on her boyfriend to be with him. So her boyfriend.
Hey, whoa. Did I say that? Her and I started, and here's what she told me. Okay, this is interesting. Let's get into this. Before we finish up with Kevin here. This is fascinating. This is actually going to make me think about my past. April and her boyfriend were still hanging out, but she told me that it was all bad, and he was this and he was that, and they were broken up. But because they had an apartment together, they hung out once in a while. And then her and I started hanging out, and then she was done with him, and she started dating me. Do you think she lied? I know I sound like the dumbest guy right now, but do you think she lied about the boyfriend to me? That's interesting. Because I know she told some lies before the disco era started. I know that she told some half-truths, and there were some fibs in there. And then after the disco started, there was quite a few. That's really something. Huh. I don't know. I'm not sure. I can't confirm.
I guess she worked with him or something, so she would cheat on him, and Aaron would pick her up in the car like they do in the they did in the 50s in those movies. They go to the drive-through. He'd pick her up in the car and they make out in the back, and I guess they'd have sex in the car.
Wait,
so now Aaron was like, yeah, she cheated on it. She cheated on her boyfriend to be with me.
Did she? She told me that they had broken up in October. Her and I started seeing each other in January of 20, just before COVID started. She said they had broken up in October. But then again, I guess they were still hanging out every once in a while. I think that, you know what? He's right. There is some overlap there. You guys want a story? April went out to one of Adrian's comedy shows with that boyfriend, just like when we had first met each other. And she went to the I was on that comedy show. I was doing a set on Adrian's show. And she went to the bathroom. I went out to meet her. She came out of the bathroom, and we made out a little bit in the gathering area, but before you go in the doors to the show. And she had gone there with the guy she was living with, who she claimed wasn't her boyfriend anymore, but they had gone out to the show together because that's something they had done. And her and I did a little quick sneaky makeout. This is like 4.5 years ago. This is not a big deal anymore. This isn't like, oh my God, like she was 25. I'm fucking 33. But yeah, we did a little sneaky. You know what? I'm finding out a lot of dishonesty there from both parties. No wonder it didn't work out. We're scoundrels.
Cheating on me to be with Nick Ricotta. And it's like, that's how you got to be careful. That's why I always warn Gene or Levy. I mean, I could send her the link. I could send her the link. But, she's like, if you're someone's fourth wife, you got to be careful with that.
True.
You got to be careful because people have tendencies.
Yep.
They do, Jeaner. So Bob can say whatever he wants. Bob's very loyal till he's not.
That's the Kevin Brennan clip. Look, I can't argue with the guy until I can prove that I changed my behavior. I mean, you got to eat that criticism, right? Like April has the thing with the last boyfriend and me. I have the thing with my first marriage and now this one doing disco. That's fine. I mean, that's fair criticism, right? If someone's criticism is, if their criticism is like, hey, this Aaron and this April, they're not loyal, you kind of got to eat that one, don't you? You do. That's fair criticism. Let's go to some of the audience here. Mr. Me with $2 says, I'll pay you every time you do an impression of Nick. Well, I have this impression. I don't have a whiskey glass in front of me. You need a whiskey glass. You got to put your finger on your cheek like this. You have to move around very effeminately. You have to have really jittery hands. And you have to go, well, you see what the problem is there is that everyone else doesn't understand that the brilliance of it is it's a cop and they're at Denny's and they don't know what they ordered. That I can do that. But my best Nick Rekieta impression would be,